NCBI Labs. Well, we're near the end of November, and this is, generally speaking, a big time for the retail sector. A few differences this year, of course, but Black Friday is still with us, and it's falling on November 27th this year. So that's this Friday. So it's going to be a good time for your live events team to have a look at some of the offers that are available. Now, of course, there's always some very good deals to look out for in the Black Friday sales, including in technology. But there are some pitfalls to avoid when buying heavily discounted items. So what are the pitfalls and how can you avoid them? And what are some of the deals that have caught our panel's attention? Well, stick around for that a little bit later on. Also on the show today, backed by popular demand, we have Miriam Kelly, who's going to be talking to us about typing tutors. We'll be chatting about the importance of learning to type when it comes to independent access to so much of the world around us as well. So we'll be talking to Miriam shortly as well. And of course, if you have any questions that you'd like our panel to answer, you can email us at labs@ncbi.ie. Or if you have a question or a comment, or if you just want to give us a bit of feedback, you can use the question answer panel on the right hand side as well, of course, if you're connecting through Microsoft Teams. But first of all, for today, let's talk to our guest this week on our Meet the Team section. And you'll know this week's guest well already from some of our previous shows. This week's guest is Joe Lonergan. You're very welcome, Joe.
Good afternoon, Jude.
Good to have you with us again.
Thanks.
So tell us something, Joe, in relation to your time with NCBI. Have you been with NCBI a long time? Where are you based?
Yeah, well, I'm based in Kilkenny at the moment. I'm doing a lot of work from home because of COVID-19, but I suppose I'm with the company with about 16 years altogether, roughly, in different guises. I started off in the CE scheme, and then I started as an IT trainer in the Iona Centre, and I worked in different centres then. I suppose Clondalk and Dunleary, the training centre and different stages, and I taught ECDL and different things like that. So at the moment, I'm working.
Had a very kind of experience with NCBI.
Yeah, right. I'm here a good while. I'm part of the furniture now at the moment.
Yeah, very good. And you're certainly a regular on the live events as well, which is great. Tell us a little bit about life before NCBI, Joe. Tell us maybe a little bit about your background or the training you had or things like that.
I'm from Tipperary, and I lost my sight around 18. And before that, I was doing an apprenticeship in an engineering place where we made canopies for petrol stations and things like that, and we made conveyor belts and all that kind of stuff, and there was a lot of welding involved and things like that. But once I lost my sight, I had to give up that job and move on and try and find some other niche or something else to do. So I contacted the NCBI and I done mobility training, and I done a few courses which led on to computers. I had no real interest in computers before I lost my eyesight, but when I did take them up, I suppose I could see the potential in them, and they make life a lot easier. And we I suppose started using the first phone with talks on it. I can't remember the exact one. It was probably an N82 or something. But anyway, I know it could have been a 6630 Nokia, but whatever it was, anyway, you can see that opened the world to you as well, because you were even able to use the internet on the phone back then around the year 2000. And I had a computer with JAWS, and so things moved on from there, and I done a teaching diploma, and I done a business administration course and a few things like that, and eventually I got into passing on my skills onto other people, onto service users, and things led on from there, and that's where my interest grew in the whole IT and assistive technology.
It's interesting just hearing that, Joe, because obviously we've heard some of your demonstrations and some of the participation you've had in the discussions with the live events, and it's always been very kind of high level. So it's interesting just to hear that your main kind of interest in both teaching and in technology came after you lost your sight.
Yeah, I suppose the only interest I had in computers before that was playing the PlayStation, or maybe a small bit with PCs in school, but I didn't actually own one at the time, So sometimes you grasp things when you need to use something. You get more of an interest in it. There's not. Well, at the time, I thought there wasn't a lot of jobs out there for visually impaired people. There is a lot of jobs out there for visually impaired people. You just have to kind of find your way in life, I suppose. And the way I took was getting interested in computers, and it does open a whole kind of information there for you. You know what I mean? So once you have the internet, you can get a lot of information. You can do courses online. You can. You know, they have nowadays you even have smart speakers to get information right on the button. You know what I mean? So you can access things with your voice now, and everything is so easy. Like it's only as hard as you want it to be. Do you know what I mean? So even if you can't use an actual PC, you could use a smart speaker. You know what I mean? Or if you don't fancy using the laptop, maybe you can use the phone for nearly everything now. You know what I mean? It's like a little computer in your hand, or you can track you can track lots of stuff on your smartwatch or whatever your preference is. There's lots of stuff out there nowadays.
Yeah, so I think that's really interesting as well to hear from the perspective of anybody who might have lost their sight and finds technology a little bit daunting, that you've kind of gone from that point where you didn't have an interest before, but you've actually learned the whole thing to the point of having a real expertise in it.
Exactly.
After losing your sight is quite a comfort to people, I think.
I think you could show other examples of people that had similar circumstances. Like I know Paul Trainer, he was very well known person in the NCBI. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but he was a block layer before he became a computer programmer, and before he became involved in tech support. So it's not easy to change roles, and there's a big confidence block at the start, but once you get over that, there is you can get the drive and you can move on. And I think step by step, and as Miriam will show later on when she talks about doing type and tutor, I mean, if you know how to type and you know the keyboard, that's the first massive step to get over. Once you learn the full keyboard, I suppose, then you can learn keystrokes, and once you learn keystrokes, you can move on and you can use any application you want on the computer. So that's a very big step for people if they could start from there, you know, start at the beginning, as they say. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. That'll be a good subject to talk about in a minute with Miriam as well. It is a vital one. Tell us a little bit more about your role in NCBI at the moment, Joe.
Yeah, I'm a role at the moment. I do small bits of tech support. I also do virtual technology clubs, and I'm involved in the one in Dublin with JP at the moment. There's probably an average of 16 people or 14 to 16 people a week doing that. I also write content for the newsletter every week, so hopefully people are subscribing to the newsletter, and we're getting information out there. And JP is also, I also do that as a team with JP. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, and I also do technology classes with the Iona Centre still.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's kind of handy. Now people can put a face to the name and a voice to the name when they're thinking about the technology newsletters that they're getting through. Both JP and Joe are involved in that. So that's a really good, valuable resource that people are able to get now as well. So if anybody hasn't actually signed up for that already, anybody listening in hasn't signed up for that's something that's really highly recommended. You've been doing some content, of course, for the live events as well over the last few months. Have you enjoyed putting together some of the features for that?
Yeah, I did enjoy doing some features on with smart speakers and things like that, because I see the way they can change people's lives, even if they're not maybe what they want to call themselves, techies or whatever. You don't have to be a techie to use one of those, but you can get involved in a lot of very high tech stuff. So you can use them to control your TV and even lights and doorbells and things like that. So I really enthusiastic about the smart home stuff and where that can lead us. So yeah, I enjoyed putting stuff together for the live events. Also enjoy using JAWS on a daily basis as well, and JAWS is getting better every year, and it's adding more innovative stuff. Like they're even adding smart voice control for JAWS as well. I think it's called Sharky. It's not Alexa or anything built in. It's similar, you know. So they've I enjoy the innovations of all the different technologies every year, and I enjoy the way it gives you the same opportunity and inclusion to most applications nowadays for blind people. So
yeah, very good, and it's great to kind of have your input then for bringing that onto the live events as well. That's really good. We really enjoy having you on the team as well. So great to have you on this today as well, Joe. Good to be able to get a bit of time to chat to you. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks very much. Okay.
And I'm sure we'll see you back on the show sometime soon as well. So that was great to talk to Joe Lonergan there this week. Now, before we move on to the item that Joe just mentioned there, that we're going to be talking about typing tutors, I just want to mention that there's a little bit of reluctance from our regular panel here to be involved in our Meet the Team piece. Maybe you hear enough from the regular crew already, but let us know what you think. Would you like to hear from our regular panel as well? So we've got Sean and JP and Daniel here. Raring to go, I'm sure, but a little bit of a debate here.
We're all sick of them, Jude.
Was that one of our listeners piping up there? Just an anonymous voice coming out of the ether there saying, no, please, no, leave us. Very good. Well, let us know if you want to hear from the guys, then it's in your hands. Now let's move on to our next subject here. We're going to talk to somebody who's overcome their reluctance to be interviewed with flying colours. Miriam, you're quickly becoming a feature on our live events. Our plan
thank you very much.
You in is clearly working. You're being well roped into it.
I don't mind at all, Jude, as long as I can get my opportunity to interview Sean and JP and Daniel and yourself at some stage now and give you all a good grill and get my payback.
Oh, well, there we have it. Now, I was being a bit sneaky. I left myself out of that when I was mentioning dropping Sean and JP and Daniel in it. But yeah, you've blown my cover there a little bit now, Miriam. So we'll have to get you back for that. Tell us a little bit about the typing course, because you were talking to us a little bit about your typing course when you were with us a couple of weeks ago. How's that going?
Well, I'm delighted to say that particular course that I mentioned when I was on last, Jude, has completed just last week, and all the participants who came from all over Ireland to join the course, they were absolutely terrific. I have to say, you know, it's very daunting learning something new, and particularly for adults. Adults hate learning things new for some reason. Kids are great at it. But their attentiveness and their concentration levels throughout the course was extremely impressive. I was really impressed by them. And every one of them can now touch type the keyboard, which is just fantastic. And that was my kind of ambition at the time. I was saying, come on, guys, you'll have this skill before COVID is, you know, before we're out of lockdown, you know.
Yeah.
So in fairness to them and all their hard work, they put in a lot of hard work. And each and every one of them now can actually type with their eyes closed.
Yeah, brilliant. And that would certainly be some skill to come out of lockdown with, a great way to use time. A lot of people can type to some extent in some way. When you talk about touch typing there, just so that we're kind of clear, what are we talking about with touch typing?
Well, touch typing, Jude, is a method. It teaches you to have the ability to type the whole keyboard correctly without ever having to look down at the keys. In other words, you could type accurately with your eyes closed. And this is done by learning the correct positioning of the fingers and initially memorizing the keys before this technique becomes very automatic, you know, to the point of being able to type without even thinking about, you know, where the letters actually are on the keyboard any longer.
Yeah. Okay, so does that take a fair amount of time, I'd imagine?
I think it takes a lot of time and a lot of concentration. I would say between maybe 10 and 15 hours. The secret is the practice, you know, to practice regularly. Like, don't do one day a week and then leave it for a week and come back to it. And that would be the same for learning anything. Do a little bit every day. You have to get better. You're not going to get worse, you know. So that's my first tip. And I think
so when you're saying there, did you say 12 to 15 hours? You're not talking about a couple of days in one week and you'll be straight through it and you'll be flying after that.
No, is that possible? Is that humanly possible? Absolutely. Is it recommended? I don't think so. I would say breaking it up into digestible chunks and giving yourself time. In other words, maybe 1 day a week to attend a class, environment, and then practice the other days in between before you join the class again the following week, just to give yourself time to recap and sort of strengthen the learning as you go along. Because also you need to keep these things fun and enjoyable. You don't want learning to be a chore. Nobody wants a big chore if they have to learn something. So keep it fun,
Yeah, absolutely. And that training method, if you like, of just little and often is always a great way to go when you're trying to learn something off by heart, so to speak, if you're trying to memorize something. So obviously now that can be quite an investment of time over a period of time, but why would you say it's so important, particularly for someone with sight loss, to learn to touch type?
I think it's probably one of the best investments that they could ever make. And it has a number of advantages, like accuracy, speed, job prospects, less fatigue, and I'll explain a little bit about what I mean by those. For speed and accuracy, once you can touch type the keyboard accurately, with typing practice, your speed will develop and improve automatically. In fact, some of the fastest typists in the world can win up to $10,000 in prize money at competition level. Now, these guys are like, the hottest typists in the universe. There was a lady some years ago, I don't know, she's probably still in it. Her name was Barbara Blackburn, and she reached typing speeds of 216 words per minute. Now, that wasn't sustained. That was just her greatest speed, if you like. But the average champion touch typist can reach speeds of 170 words a minute accurately over a period of time, which is phenomenal when you think of the average typing speed of somebody even in an office would be 40 words a minute.
Yeah.
The job prospects then, as Joe Lonergan referred to there, typing is not really an optional skill any longer. I think most employers would expect you to have typing skills at this point. And it can open you up to more and better job opportunities, as Joe alluded to. With a combination of touch typing skills and the ability to use screen reading software, blind and visually impaired users can use a computer system just as well as their sighted colleagues, if not better and faster, by using the keyboard commands that Joe also referred to. So hands down, I think you could beat your mouse colleagues, who are clicking on this and clicking on that. You could pass them by with your keyboard commands.
Yeah, well, that's a great kind of motivation straight away. If somebody is kind of thinking, I'm not sure if I need to learn this, that's a great kind of motivation straight away to know that you can actually do. It's not like a second class way of controlling the computer. It's not like just an alternative to using the mouse. It's actually better a lot of the time.
Oh, I honestly, absolutely. Back a few years back when I was teaching sighted people, just even say, we'll take an example, a word processing, program. And I would always have given them the keyboard commands, if you're going to, save a file, control an S or F12 or whatever. And with every single instruction, I would give a keyboard command. And I remember in one of the courses, I had this guy and he would just wait for the keyboard command. And I don't know whether he just couldn't be bothered with the mouse or what, but he was like, at the end of the course, like, I was amazed that he remembered, he was a sighted guy and he remembered, but his preference was completely to use the keyboard,
That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's very interesting, actually, that is a preference, because as well, as soon as you start using various different controls on the keyboard, as opposed to just typing, a lot of people might think of knowing the keyboard as just typing the text, but to have all of the other function keys and everything in your mind, you're able to pretty much control everything about a computer anyway at that stage.
Absolutely. When you consider just even closing a file, closing a program, closing the computer, Alt F4, Alt F4, Alt F4, you don't be running around looking for a mouse, looking for options, all the rest of it. It's so fast. And I think having the knowledge of touch typing, it's less fatigue than kind of hunting and pecking for letters and listening to and there's less editing involved. It's just a nice fluent way, of being able to type.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me then, if somebody is wanting to learn to touch type, what's the best way to learn to touch type?
Well, I suppose you have a choice of maybe 3 methods. You could have an instructor-led typing course that you would take maybe at a training centre, at a college, a school, whatever. You could maybe sign up and do a virtual touch typing training course online. Or maybe you could use maybe something like a touch typing tutorial software. You know, there's software out there that you can use. So if you're motivated enough and you're happy enough to use maybe a touch typing software, there's lots of touch typing software out there, and some of them are accessible for visually impaired and blind users as well.
Very good. So are some of those sort of online tutors, for example, that might be the first thing. If somebody's listening to this today and they want to make a start, they might look at some online typing tutors. Are they good? Would you recommend online typing tutors?
I think it depends on the person, you know, and how ambitious and how determined that they are. But if you're very determined to do it, then absolutely you could use. I mean, there's a combination out there of free touch typing software and then paid touch typing software. So I've put together a little demonstration for you, and one of them is going to demonstrate the free touch typing software from Typing Club, and then the other will demonstrate just a little piece on the typability software, which is produced by the same company who have the software called JAWS, which a lot of your listeners may already be familiar with, and that Joe mentioned earlier on as well. JAWS is a screen reading software, and the typability software, touch typing software that has been devised by the same company, it needs JAWS to actually run it. But the beauty of that is they're very familiar with the JAWS environment anyway. The other one is a Touch Typing Club software, and I can talk about just a little bit about the two of those, you know, if you want to have a little demonstration of both of those first.
Yeah, so let's have a look at the video first and we'll come back to you.
Hello everyone. This is a quick look at two accessible touch typing tutorials that are available for you to work on. The first one that we will take a look at is a free touch typing software program from typingclub.com. You will have to set up an account, and you will have to enable the accessible options within the program. But once done so, you can see how this will operate. Let me give you a demonstration.
F space J F J J space F F J J J.
Now I'm going to make an error to see what happens.
To type J, press down with your right index finger.
I get an
To
error.
type J, press down with your right index finger. F.
I will repeat that again.
To type F, press down with your left index finger. To type F, press down with your left index finger. F space F F J J space F J F J space J J F. To type F, press down with your left index finger. To type F, press down with your left index finger.
Did you notice the little tone that I get when I make a mistake? It also corrects me with instructing me as to what I should have done. This typing tutorial is free from typingclub.com. Next, we will take a look at a touch typing tutorial that works with a screen reader that many of you will already be familiar with. The next one that we will look at is called Typability. And to use Typability, it is a paid program, and it works and is designed to work with your screen reader called JAWS.
Typability dialog. Good afternoon and welcome to Typability 4. The fun way to learn how to type, how to use the computer, and much, much more. Now I will be your guide through all your lessons, but I don't know your name yet, so either you or your assistant should type your first name, then a space, and then the first letter of your last name, and finally just press enter. Then, bingo, your lessons will begin. Are you ready to do that? Just type your first name, then space, and then the first letter of your last name, and then press enter, and bingo, your type ability session will begin. So go for it.
So as you can see, here you are requested to type in your full first name.
Miriam space K.
And then I press my enter key.
Enter. Well, this is super excellent. Miriam, you will be my new friend. Miriam, you have 4 more openings of type ability before your demo runs out. Welcome aboard. It's great meeting you, Miriam, and guess what? I think you're really going to enjoy your type ability lessons. Well now, Miriam, I need your helper to press the F2 key twice quickly to start with lesson 1. Lesson 1, the top row, escape and function keys F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Alright, in this very first lesson, you will be learning how to type in the very top row of keys. In the top row of keys, you'll learn how to find the escape key and also some other keys called function keys on some typing keyboards. However, at the very top, there's a row of small round buttons, but we don't want to press those small round buttons. So if you have a row of round buttons at the top, then ignore them. We're just looking for the top row of square keys. Now, you will be typing the keys escape, then space. The escape key is in the very top row of keys. The escape key is the very first key on the left of the top row, and the space key is right smack dab in the middle of the very bottom row of keys. It's a really wide key. Go ahead and type escape, then space, escape, yeah, space, good, again, type escape, then escape, space, good, again, escape, yeah, space, you got it, one last time, Miriam, escape, go space, wonderful. Next you will be typing escape, F1, then space. The F1 key is in the top row of keys. It's just to the right of the escape key. That means it's the second key in the top row. Go ahead and type escape, F1, escape, good, F1, that's it. Space, that's right, again, type escape, escape, yeah, F1, space, good, again. Escape, F1, space, that's it, one last time, Miriam. Escape, yes, F1, space, beautiful. The next keys will be escape, F1, F2, then space. The F2 key is just to the right of the F1 key. Go ahead and type escape, F1, F2, then space. Type it 4 times.
As you can see, with this particular program called Type Ability, you do require JAWS to run the software. It also starts with the very top of your keyboard rather than the QWERTY layout. The program itself comes with a lot of different options within it. For example, keyboarding lesson lists.
1. The top row, escape and function keys F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. 2. New letters from the home row, A, S, D, F, J, K, L, closed.
And decide I would prefer to run this one instead.
Enter 2. New letters from the home row, A, S, D, F, J, K, L. Lesson 2. New letters from the home row, A, S, D, F, J, K, L. Alright, in this lesson, you will be learning how to type letters in the home row. The home row is 2 rows above the bottom row of the keyboard. So, to find the home row, just find the space bar and then move up 2 rows. You will then be on the home row. Okay, Miriam, now type the keys F, then space. F is the first letter of the name, Frank. The F key is on the home row and it has a tiny bump on it. Press the F with your left hand second finger, then press the space with your right hand thumb. Go ahead and type F, then space. Type it 4 times. Go for it. F, yes, space, good. F, right, space, good. Again, F, yeah, space. You got it. One last time, Miriam.
Mistake.
D, but you're really close. Type F, that's F, as a space. Not quite, Miriam. Type F, that's F, as in Frank. The F is on the home row, and it has a tiny bump on it. Use your left hand second finger. F, alrighty then, space. Well done. Now type the keys J, then space. J is the J, good, space, that's right. Again, type J, then J, yeah, space, good, again.
Let me make a mistake again.
K, but you're really close. Type J. The J is to the left of the K, and it has a tiny bump on it. J. Alrighty then, space, that's it. One last time, Miriam. J, yes, space. C. Now type the keys. F, J, then space. F and J are the F, yeah, J, space, correct. Again, F, ra, J, ra, space, go. F, yeah, J, yeah, space. Yes, sir, E. One last F, go, J, that's space. Cool, now type the keys. F, J, K, then space. F, J, and K are the first letters of the names. Frank, James, and Katie. The K key is the key just to the right of the J key. Press the K key with your right hand's third finger. Go ahead and type F, J, K, then space. Type it 4 times. Go for it.
So as you can see with the typability software, you get a lot more feedback on what you are doing and perhaps a little more encouragement as you're learning to touch type, which I think may help with a lot of beginners who are working with the software on their own and learning to touch type by themselves. But it is your choice. This one you have to pay for, and if you're already familiar with the JAWS software, it will be a familiar area for you to use it. If you're looking for a free, accessible touch typing program, then the first tutorial that we had a look at may well work for you. Thank you for this little quick look at the touch typing softwares.
Very good. So thanks for preparing that demonstration for us, Miriam. Now, just before we're out of time on this segment, maybe we could just get you to give us a bit of an idea of any final recommendations. If somebody is going to try and learn touch typing, maybe they're considering online tutors, or there might be other options open to them. Any final kind of thoughts, any final recommendations you'd give them?
I think particularly because it's touch typing, Jude, and touch typing it's a lot of memorization, a lot of concentration, so they have to be very motivated to do it on their own with something like a typing tutorial. The advantage of a typing tutorial is they can use it anytime. They're not committed to attending a class or a particular time, so they can use it how often and when often and wherever they want to use it. To attend a class, I think you just have more motivation. You have a tutor keeping you straight. You have other colleagues, you know, that you can sort of have a quick word with every now and again. It's just more interesting. There are other softwares out there as well. There's one called Azabat, which has 2 different levels, beginners and advanced, again accessible for blind and visually impaired users. There's another software out there called Talking Typer. And Talking Typer has been around for about 20 years, so they could also take a little look at that. That offers a free download, a 15-minute free download that they can use without having to pay the $79 full price. But that particular Talking Typer now has a little app. And for €5.50, for €5.50, you can download this from the App Store if you had an iPhone. And then if you had, we'll say, a Bluetooth keyboard for your iPhone or your iPad, well, there you go. For $5.50, you've got a fully accessible little typing tutorial, you know, just from the app. So I suppose it's really, it's depending on the person, I think, you know, on how much interaction. Maybe they don't want to go into a class at all, you know, maybe they prefer to do it on their own time, or perhaps they're working and they just need to brush up on typing skills. So I think the choice is just, it's purely a preference. But from my own point of view, I would always recommend, you know, being brought through a particular course, but that's just me, you know.
Very good. It's great to have those options, and thanks for taking the time to prepare that video for us and to come on the show today as well and give us those recommendations. Appreciate that, Miriam.
Not at all, Jude, and I look forward to maybe interviewing you in a further episode.
We'll move swiftly on from that. Good to have you back with us, Miriam.
Okay,
and I'm sure
thanks
we'll
again, and thanks for the listeners' time. Thank you.
Cheers. Very good. So, of course, if you have any questions or you want any assistance in relation to any of these subjects, including with regard to typing, as we discussed there, contact your local IT trainer for more information, or you can contact labs@ncbi.ie. Of course, just a reminder that if you're enjoying our live events here, and maybe you're getting an opportunity to hear them live, if you want to check back on any of the subjects that are talked about on our live events, you can always do that on YouTube or any of the major podcast platforms. Might be something as well that if you have any family or friends who would be interested to hear these same subjects being discussed, spread the word about our live events as well, and we'll be delighted to cover any other subjects that you might suggest as well. Now, before we move on to our discussion about Black Friday, let's talk briefly about this week's quick tips. Daniel's with us this week to mention one particular quick tip. So what have you got for us this week, Daniel?
Hi, Jude. Well, yeah, this week what I've decided to cover was using the inbuilt Zoom feature that's on the web browsers such as your Google Chrome and the new Microsoft Edge that's out. So basically, I'll just give you kind of an overview of it. The laptops that are out now and have been for the last couple of years, I suppose, they have advanced the touchpad that comes with your laptop now, and they kind of function in a similar way to the way the surface of your smartphone would. So you can do your pinch gestures and different gestures on the touchpad now, and maybe that wasn't available maybe going back about 8-10 years ago at this stage. So it offers extra functionality, and I think from you know, the point of view of somebody who has low vision, you know, browsing the web, and they want to be able to zoom up the text really quick, maybe go in and look at finer details or something, and rather than going maybe to use hotkeys or use Windows magnification, that they can just simply do this gesture on the touchpad. So I've prepared a little video of that, and what I want to do is just maybe play that here for you now. So just give us a second there.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing that. That's great.
Hi, it's Daniel here with the NCBI Labs team, and today we are going to take a look at zooming in on the Google Chrome browser and the new Microsoft Edge browser. So this little tip is handy for somebody who has low vision and wants to take advantage of the inbuilt magnification in these browsers. So first of all, I'm going to open up the Google Chrome browser, and we'll go for, let's say, RTE News. And we'll just pick an article from RTE News here. So just take the first article here. So as you can see, our page is loaded up, and you can use 2 fingers on the new touchpads to scroll up and down the page. But just like a smartphone or an iPad, you can use your pinch and gesture there just to zoom in, and then you use 2 fingers left and right across the page, and likewise 2 fingers up and down to read your article. So that's that working on the Google Chrome browser. And if you want to go back a page, you can use 2 fingers to swipe left and swipe right, and it'll bring you forward and back a page just like that. So you're back out to the main page. Again, your pinch zoom will bring up the articles. So if you want to zoom in on those, get them up. It's easy to see what the article is about before going into it. So I'll just show you that on the Microsoft Edge browser, the new one that's out as well. So we'll just go RTE News again. And again, pick the top result here. So same page, we will just pick another article here. So again, you can use your pinch gesture to zoom in on the photos or zoom in on the text. 2 fingers down on the touchpad, going left, right, up and down to navigate around the page when it's zoomed up. So you can see there, you can bring the text up quite big on the screen. And again, to go back a page, 2 fingers, and just swipe to the right will send you back a page. And likewise, if you're after going a few pages forward, you can swipe the opposite way. Will bring you forward through the pages as well. Now, in addition, if you're a PC user and you have a mouse, you can also employ the same tactic by holding down your control key. So I'll just do that here. and if you have the roller ball on the mouse, you can just roll forward, roll up with the control key held down, and you will zoom in on your page as well. So that's for people who are using a desktop PC with a mouse attached. So that's a quick handy tip for zooming in and out using the modern browsers of Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge. And it just must be said that it's the modern touchpads on most modern laptops will have that feature built in. Surely any of the laptops that were produced in the last 5 to 8 years will have that feature built in. Alternatively, if it doesn't, just grab an external mouse and, like I demonstrated there a few moments ago, hold down that control key and use the roller ball to move in and out to zoom up and down your page. So if you have any further queries on that, don't hesitate to get in contact with your local NCBI trainer for further information. Thank you for watching.
Great stuff. So that's a really useful one that maybe not everybody knows straight off, but nice and easy for everyone to get to grips with, and quite a powerful one as well. Thanks very much for preparing that for us this week.
No problem at all, Jude.
And of course, we'll hear more quick tips from the team, quick tips from the team, even quick tips from the team next week. And if you want any particular tips for a particular platform, do just let us know on labs@ncbi.ie. Now, moving on, what you need to know about Black Friday. So this is obviously quite a timely subject for us to talk about, Black Friday being this week. And there's always a lot of good deals or a lot of big discounts on our Black Friday sales, on the Black Friday sales that we see around the web and in stores. And obviously it's a bit different this year, but it's still important for us to maybe have a little bit of a chat about what's available and some of the pitfalls that we can avoid as well. So maybe we can just we've got our whole panel on here for this section, so maybe we can just have a bit of a chat about what Black Friday actually is. First of all, if you hear people always talking about Black Friday, somebody want to just give us maybe just a bit of a description of Black Friday?
Yeah, I suppose, Jude, Black Friday is kind of like a bit akin to like our, New Year's sales and that there. So it started in America roughly around the 1950s. The Friday after Thanksgiving kind of was like their run down to Christmas, and sales and shops and people selling off stock, etc. And because we have so many American companies like Amazon over here now, they introduced their sales for Black Friday to this part of the world too. So because people were purchasing from the likes of like Amazon or other sort of American-based sites or shops, actually, the rest of the shops in Ireland and the UK would have started moving their deals to that Friday to compete with them. Yeah,
I have to say it's one of those sort of terms that I've heard a bit more in recent years, and I kind of was surprised to find out actually it's been there for decades in the States.
Yeah, I think the term Black Friday comes from a few different ideas. Like I think I know you were telling me that it was like the shops going from red into black.
That was one of the explanations, yeah.
And then another one I was reading was because the streets had so many people in them and the roads are so busy, it was nearly like the traffic cops were calling it Black Friday in terms of density of traffic and people on the streets during that time. So which one is true, or maybe it's an amalgamation of them all, but it's an interesting term.
There was quite an interesting one I saw as well, because I'd heard that same thing about the day when traditionally it's supposed to be the day when the kind of businesses go from basically go into profit, go from the red to the black. So they kind of wanted to label that with Black Friday, as you mentioned there. But I saw another interesting one as well, which was just talking about it said now, of course, you never know what, when you read something on a website, you never know exactly how much credence to give it. It says the true story of Black Friday is darker. The term Black Friday was first used on September 24th, 1869, when two investors, Jay Gould and Jim Fisk, drove up the price of gold and caused a crash that day. The stock market dropped 20% and foreign trade stopped. farmers suffered a 50% dip in wheat and corn harvest value. So going back to 1869 is what they're claiming there. But it's kind of interesting just to hear the kind of background of some of these terms that are used, because we associate it with something so different these days.
Absolutely.
It's just interesting to hear where it came from. It is sort of a bit newer, really, though, in Ireland, isn't it? I think it's only maybe the last 5 or 6 years that we would have really started to use that term properly.
Yes, especially like we're saying with like, you know, American shops opening over here or using their sort of sales models that, you know, they were selling their stock at a reduced rate on the run down to Christmas. Yeah, I think they call it Christmas creeps further back into the year every year. Yeah. So obviously in America they had started that well before us, but now you get Christmas creep here. So all the shops are looking to, you know, either move last year's stock or set, or, you know, just or to have a promotion on a certain stock, and it's a great time of year to do it on the run down to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. And just keeping with this kind of tradition of naming sales, the Black Friday sale, Cyber Monday always kind of goes hand in hand with Black Friday. What's the difference with Cyber Monday?
Well, the idea of Cyber Monday was that, you know, Black Friday, it's around since the 50s, so obviously no internet back then. It was in-shop promotions. So like for shops that don't have storefronts, like with the likes of Amazon and that, there, like they were sort of, and other websites, they were pushing to more a Cyber Monday thing. So to, you know, they'd have their own kind of marketplace of like, well, you can't make it to a shop, or we don't have a shop, here's a Cyber Monday deal.
Yeah. So
it became more of an online presence. Now I know they've kind of Cyber Monday and Black Friday sort of crossed over, and they're more or less the same thing now, because it's not as if most shops would have an online presence as well as having a storefront. So
and particularly this year, it's almost like every day is Cyber Monday this year, I think, isn't it?
During lockdown. I think like the extended to like a Black Friday week coming up to Black Friday, there's a Black Friday week after Black Friday, then you've Cyber Monday deals starting. So there is, you know, it's constant pushes. Like, so that's, I know we're going to get into like it's not always a good thing to be rushing out and buying everything in the sale, and like I know we're going to that further now in our discussion. Yeah,
and that is a good point to make as well. It's not something that people need to hang around for this Friday to be able to get the best deals, because they spread it out quite a bit in the weeks coming up to it, particularly the week of Black Friday now. So there's some good sale items out there at the moment. Realistically, we're basically talking about, just before we go on to some of these tips, and we might kind of ask JP to come on in a second to talk us through some tips for successful Black Friday shopping. But basically, we're talking about a sale like any other in some ways, aren't we?
Yeah, it is more or less like a sale, like any others. Like there's advantages and there's pitfalls to that.
Yeah.
So you know, do you need the product? Is it a saving? Is the shop just trying to get rid of last year's you know, inventory? And that's not always a bad thing, because last year's inventory can still be quite good.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's always a trade up of like, how much are you saving? Do you need this? Are you buying something that's useful? Are you buying last year's technology, which isn't, you know, future proofed anymore? Or there's a lot to take in. I know we're kind of going to go into that now.
Yeah. Absolutely, and so sort of approach it like you would any other sale. So let's have a think about some of the sort of specific tips that can help you if you're wanting to buy something through the Black Friday sale. You don't want to spend more than you need to. You want to make sure that it's actually a good deal that you're buying. What sort of tips are out there? Well, let's chat to JP. Any tips you can give us?
Yeah, that's right, Jude. So we can offer a few tips for anyone who will be shopping online this week in the Black Friday sales, and of course Cyber Monday too. First one we'll offer is for anyone who has a particular product in mind, is to just try and shop around different websites, just to make sure that the sale price that you're looking at can actually be considered, say, a good deal. And of course, there are like lots of really good deals on Black Friday this week, but the last thing we want to happen is to find ourselves taken in by a certain deal that may not be considered quite as good as it should be. So just to expand on this a little bit, to give you an example, I know there have been reports, some retailers, they may set the price a little bit higher, maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to Black Friday, and they reduce them during the week of Black Friday. This can happen. We don't want to get caught out. It doesn't happen all the time, but again, we just don't want to be caught out by, as I say, seemingly a good deal that might not be what it stacks up to be. So really the advice we'd offer here is just to try and just kind of cross-reference different websites. So if you have a particular product in mind, a TV or a laptop or whatever it might be, a smart speaker, maybe just don't necessarily go with the first website you see that you come across, but just have a look, explore the different options. And to give you an example on this, I was looking at a few different websites this morning at the Amazon Echo .4th generation. So I came across one website where it was priced at €32.60, and then another one where it was on sale, Black Friday sale, at €69.50. So yes. Definitely pays to shop around.
Yeah.
Another.
What was that device that you just mentioned?
That was the Amazon Echo .4th generation, Jude.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just saw a similar thing. I saw the Google Nest Mini on a couple of different websites, and it's interesting if you were to shop by, for example, percentage discount.
Yeah.
I saw one that was originally 65, gone down to I think 27, which is actually a good deal in its own right. But another one was actually cheaper in the first place at €60 and went down to €30. Which is a 50% discount, but actually the other one looked like a much bigger discount because it was coming from a much higher price.
It's a perfect example of that. Like a few other tips that we'll have will be, and this is kind of an obvious one, just making a list. So before you go shopping the Black Friday sales, so rather than go in with the mindset, oh, I'll just have a browse and I'll see what I find. Ideally, what you could do is just think about, okay, well, what do I need? Like, what am I looking for? And then just see, just go about looking for that particular product or products. Particularly when it comes to buying, devices. We know, like people who are listening, we know the technology is not that cheap. If you're looking at a new laptop or a smart TV, it can be quite expensive.
Yeah.
Another one that's probably the most important one is just about shopping online safely. There's an interesting / kind of worrying kind of figure. In Ireland this year alone, we've had 1.1 million euro has been unfortunately people have lost that much money through online shopping frauds. So we definitely don't want this to happen to us. So we offer a few kind of recommendations here as to ways we can shop safely online this week. And this could include just the very obvious things: this not entering your credit card details on any website that you don't trust, that you're not familiar with. A good thing to point out is that if you want to just check it out to see the security and the safety of the website, there is a little padlock icon that you can check see if it's there, to see if it's deemed kind of secure or not. To find this, if we're using a screen reader, we can just go to the address bar, press Alt and D, and then we can Shift and Tab once to move to the padlock icon. And if one is there, of course, if it is there, we'll hear Use Site Information button menu, and then it'll say secure. So that's our way of knowing that the guide is secure. So, if we're in any doubts, a good website to try to test the site you're looking up is Trustpilot, and it'll tell you straight away whether it deemed it safe or not. So that's something to bear in mind. Another point, probably equally important, is to try and shop in good time to improve our chance of getting the items delivered before Christmas. And so as to improve the chances of this happening, what we can do is just try shopping at websites in Ireland or the UK. I mean, a lot of people are ordering products online at the moment, and I was reading actually on Post, I've seen an increase of 130% in the volume of packages being delivered this year compared to last. So we can expect, I say, some delays, but of course I think the chances of the items being delivered before Christmas will be much higher if we order from sites in Ireland or the UK as opposed to elsewhere.
Yeah,
and of course a good thing as far as we're buying Irish too.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say as well, there's that drive kind of to support a little bit more local businesses this year in particular when they need it. And are the Irish retailers quite good with participation in the Black Friday sales? Can you get good deals?
I was browsing online this morning, different websites, and I found they're very good. Actually, they're very competitive.
Very good. Good to know as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a chat about some of the sort of more specific recommendations then. Any good recommendations that you found in the Black Friday sales this year? Can we come we'll come to Sean first.
I've been looking at things now like power banks. for charging your phone on the go or charging your products. We all have, we've all got mobile phones these days with large enough batteries, and we can sometimes drain them when we're out on the go. I know we're all in lockdown. We're not really on the go at the moment, but hopefully when that's back to normal. But like with a power bank, I've been looking at the Anker PowerCore 13400. Now I was looking on the Littlewoods Ireland website, which doesn't currently have its Black Friday sale yet, but the same product on the UK site does. So I'm hoping that they will implement that sale over here soon. But the reason I'm looking at power banks is because, like I said, we all have AirPods, we all have other devices, and with this particular model, I know it was built for the Nintendo Switch. That's just a promotional gimmick. It's the fact that it has fast charging. So like phones now that can take a full charge within an hour from a wall outlet, this power bank will also let you do the same thing.
Very good. Yeah,
you get a full charge in the hour, and you like from the power bank. It might take about 4 hours to charge the power bank fully in itself, but then that'll get you 4 to 4.5 charges of your phone. It'll get you multiple charges of your AirPods. Like if you can have this in your backpack. You're going to work, you're going to college, or you're just traveling around, and so all of a sudden your AirPods go, or all of a sudden your phone is running low, and you think you might need it for a meeting or you might need it for something. Stick it in the fast charge section of this power bank, and before you know it, the phone will be near full. Brilliant. And the reason I was looking at the Irish website is because these are lithium-ion batteries. They don't always send them in the post internationally.
Okay, that's a useful thing to know. Okay, so they're kind of dangerous to send in the post, is that it?
Well, just like any like your phone has a lithium-ion battery, your laptop has a lithium-ion battery. They're well protected in the phones. They're all well protected in these cases too. It's just that the batteries are so large that they don't want them getting bumped or scratched or bent or anything that could happen in the post. We've all seen packages get mangled in post, and it's just these batteries, they're dangerous. Like any battery is dangerous if it's not treated right.
So remind us, just price-wise, what were we looking at for that?
Well, currently that's about 70 to 80 euro, that power bank. Now it is a bit more expensive than other power banks because it does have fast charge, and it has an intelligent charge section where it will know the voltage and current of the device that's plugged into it and give it the exact current it needs.
Very good.
So it's very useful thing. You can charge your device safely. So the UK have already implemented their Black Friday sale on that. So that's about down to 30 sterling on the English version of the Littlewoods website. So I'm hoping now that on the Irish one now they'll implement that sale pretty soon also.
Yeah, very good. So that's a good discount and good tips about power banks as well there. Thanks for that, Sean. So maybe we can come over to Daniel now, and any particular items that you've seen, any recommendations you've seen in the sales this year?
Yeah, Jude, like Sean there, been looking around, but I just want to kind of add something a little bit to what JP was talking about there in just tips and tricks. Particularly when buying online, is another thing to take into consideration is your shipping costs, and also so sometimes if you're buying outside the country, obviously your currency exchange. Just to make sure with shipping costs, particularly your eBays and places like that. Often you can find an item for €10, but it costs €10 to ship it to Ireland, and another place could be €12, but €3 to ship it to Ireland. So just to watch out for that. It's a little bit of a tip there, particularly if you're going on the likes of eBay, I suppose. But getting back to laptops, and now I know back on the 26th of May, our live event 8, we had a good old chin wag over what to look out for in laptops. So I suppose it's traditionally the time of the year now, if you haven't got a laptop going back maybe to college or something, that you might look at getting a laptop for Christmas. And likewise with Black Friday, you're going to get a lot of offers out there. And just to bear in mind, back when we were discussing on our live event 8, about the solid state hard drives in these laptops, it is quite, it's nearly getting to the stage now where it's necessary to have it. Yeah. So you will find some places will be still shipping the laptops out with the old style hard drive. So just look out for those. Curry's had Curry's had a deal on there on laptops. Now this one here under Black Tag sale event was going for 479. Now the only little drawback I had on it was a 14-inch screen, but she's well packed under the bonnet. You're getting an iCore 5 chip there, very quick. Getting 4 gig of RAM, which is reasonably good, and 256 gig solid state drive. So that is not a bad little purchase there. And again, your battery life up to 10 hours. So it's quite a nice little machine, you know, maybe to look out for if you're going down to Curry's at some stage. They do have lots of other offers on there, but again, watch out for the storage space. I see some of the cheaper models, you know, 64 gigs solid state drive, not necessarily great. You'd want to be probably going 120 at least, even just for standard browsing. So just to watch out for those things. Another thing came across as well, and we'll probably do a discussion on this further down the route, is the Google Nest Wi-Fi system, this Wi-Fi mesh. Basically, these the Nest Wi-Fi router, it plugs into your existing router, and it gives you better Wi-Fi coverage in the house, and you can add points as well. So you know, maybe if I'm thinking of particular bigger houses, or maybe older houses with the big thick walls and the Wi-Fi signal doesn't quite reach into the corner rooms of the house where you really want that Wi-Fi. So these little guys, you can pick them up. They're just on sale at the moment from Google Store. They have the router on its own for 116, down from 156, and they do a set then down from 250 down to 205. So they might be worth investing in. They also include the Google Assistant on them, so they double up as your little speaker, your speaker, mini speaker as well. So to have that. And one final thing to add to them guys is they have a thing on it that you can have paused the internet on it. So thinking of the parents listening, the kids are not doing the homework, they're on the Wi-Fi, you just tell it to turn off the internet. And that might be a handy feature for some folks out there.
Quite useful.
It can be very hard to get them to drop the tablets and while the Wi-Fi is flowing.
Excellent, good stuff. A wide variety of different items in the Black Friday sales.
Yeah, they're just some of them I came across. There's tons of stuff out there I could go on all evening about.
Brilliant, and we'll have to have a chat about some of those items as well in a future live event. You mentioned the Google Mesh. Is that what they call it? The internet system? Yeah,
it is. It's an intelligent system, particularly where you're getting the 2 units. You know, it'll switch your device over to which unit is the best one to be connected to automatically. So it'll hop for you. It'll hop the internet seamlessly for you.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll have to talk about those on one of the future live events. Just an interesting thing I just noticed there on the Curry's website as well, which is quite useful considering one of the tips that JP mentioned is that when they mention the price at the moment, they also tell you the price that it was, but they also tell you the dates that it was that price. So if you're worried about somebody maybe having just boosted their prices for just before Black Friday, you can actually check on the Curry's website. So if it's been a stable price for a while and the price comes down, you can kind of have a bit more confidence in the sale price. So that's quite a useful thing as well. I wonder, can we just test this out a little bit with maybe just one
with your credit card, Jude?
Say that again?
With your credit card.
Jude, can I give you my shopping list now?
Say that again. I'm very hard of hearing now today. I'm hearing a lot of things I don't like today. Very good. And was that Miriam coming back? Miriam, if you say you're going to interview me again.
Yeah, you just mentioned the word credit card, and I'm going to go, oh. Jude, can I just say as well, just what Daniel said, you know, to watch out for the postage and, you know, the currency, because that can actually bump up the price back up again when you get as far as your checkout. Yeah. Also, Amazon.co.uk is different to Amazon.com. Amazon.com being the American one, and you would end up paying duty for anything coming in. Also, with Brexit on the horizon too in January, the banks are looking at adding an extra layer of security. Now, again, because of Brexit, people might want to buy before January as well. So might be something to consider, you know, if they need something on the Black Friday sale, it might be something to consider too, you know, not to wait.
Yeah, very good. Some
very
good tips
points
there as well. Excellent. So just time to maybe try this out with one particular sale item, and this is more for just giving a little bit of an idea of an approach to the Black Friday sale. So I'm going to pick a set of headphones here that I've noticed on one website. And if I read it out, maybe you can give us, maybe someone on the panel can just give us your approach. If you were looking at this for the first time, now you may know these set of headphones, you might know how good they are, or you might not. How would you approach this if you were to see this deal and you were looking out for a set of headphones? So this is a pair of Sony in-ear truly wireless headphones with extra bass, and it's got the model number here, and it's saying it was €159.99 and it's down to €79.99. Now, does that, just from what you hear, is that something that you would jump on straight away, or what sort of checks, what would you check out before you proceeded with that?
I always review products over and over again, read reviews on them, read previous reviews, check out other websites to see if the product's actually, you know, rated first. To kind of garner my own interest, and then, like I said, I'll check prices on other websites then also currently, and even in sales, to see is the website offering the best price for that.
Yeah.
But the main thing I would do personally is read 10-15 reviews from as much websites as I can about people's user experience with it.
Yeah.
But as we often find, people only write reviews when they have a bad experience. Like, no one rushes out to write a review when something's brilliant because you expect it to work.
Yes, yeah.
So you kind of have to weigh all that up when you're reading reviews online. But that is what I would do, just to see, like, if it's, you know, if you're reading about like the Google Buds or the AirPod Pro, like, they're so well advertised and reviewed all over the place, you kind of have an idea of how they should work and how they should act. So whenever there's a pair of, you know, like Buds or technology or phones that are just not so well known, that's like I'd have to do a little bit of research personally.
Yeah, perfect. So that's probably a key bit of advice, is make sure of the product itself as well, because even in those cases where they're actually a very good discount, and maybe they were hugely more expensive before, not just talking about this set of headphones, of course, but just in general, maybe whatever the device is wasn't actually worth that amount in the first place, and maybe the sale price that's there at the moment is more in keeping with what it's worth and what we'd be willing to pay. So just balance out what you actually want, what you would expect to pay, what you're happy to pay, and is the device actually good enough. So hopefully those reminders and tips about the Black Friday sales will be helpful to you. One or two guiding points there for specific sales as well. If there's any questions that you have, obviously it's going to be related to this week particularly, but you can still get support through the Labs team at labs@ncbi.ie. And of course, in more general terms, you can get in touch with us for any sort of tech help that you need as well there. And if there's any subjects that you'd like covered as well, you can let us know at that same email address. And of course, you can get support from NCBI services in general on 1850 33 43 53 from NCBI services in general, and for the Labs team it's 1850 92 30 60. And if you'd like to make a donation to support our services, you can also visit donate.ncbi.ie. And don't underestimate the help that can be to keeping our live events going, as well as all the rest of our services that are running as well. You can even sponsor one of our live events if you like by emailing labs@ncbi.ie as well. Now, just before we go, just a reminder of what's coming up in future live events. Next week, we're going to be talking about streaming devices, things like the Amazon Fire Stick or Apple TV or Google Chromecast. What's the difference between them all? And how are they for accessibility? Well, we're going to be talking about that a little bit next week. And of course, we have our Meet the Team piece as well. And this time we'll be talking to Anya O'Rourke about her role in NCBI. Just to flag in advance as well that on December 15th, we're going to be having a bit of a free-for-all. We'll have an expanded panel to talk about some of their favourite pieces of accessible technology of the year. And if you'd like your voice to be heard, you can just let us know what your favourite pieces of technology are as well, and we'll be sure to include those on the show. Reminder that our next live event is next week. We're still in level 5 for next week at least, so we'll be back again next week, December 1st at 2:30 p.m. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, with our newsletter, if you want to keep up to date with what's happening, you can sign up for that on the NCBI website, or you can email us as well if you'd like to sign up for that. So many thanks to our panel today. Nice to talk about those very different subjects of the Black Friday sales and the value of typing tutors. Appreciate all the input from our guests today and a regular panel as well. And we look forward to seeing everybody back next week for another NCBI Labs live event.